Yeah, so Dominator Rating is also this kind of metric where you see it on Twitter and you think it's kind of kooky. Like, okay, this is some metric that this guy made up to fit a certain scenario. I don't even know what Dominator Rating to me isn't very descriptive, right? So when you see it on Twitter, it's very easy to overlook it. What Dominator Rating is your percent of the team's offensive production. For wide receiver, this is usually your market share of receiving yards and touchdowns. And the goal of Dominator Rating is to help normalize the playing field amongst SEC schools, Big 10 schools, Big 12 schools, ACC schools, a bunch of small, no-name colleges that players are coming out of, and you want to be able to understand whether or not they'll be able to compete with the guys in the SEC or in the Big 10. What Dominator Rating tells us is how important are you to the team's overall production. And what really smart people have found is that anything over 20% of your market share of receiving yards plus touchdowns is pretty good. You're in essence making up a large part of that offense. You're making up a fifth of that offense.
So is this a metric that only looks at receiving? Is it something that looks at rushing? What's the split here?
For wide receivers, we tend to look at receiving yards and touchdowns. Some people argue that receiving yards in themselves are the best metric to look at because touchdowns are very variable. They can change from year to year. When we look at running backs in a future episode, we'll look at their dominator rating with rushing yards as well.